Yeah, I just actually thought I would actually record this. I'm actually, just so you know, I'm going to post this on my YouTube. I'm talking to Kato Abdul. I'm calling him in Ghana. Kato actually is a passionate, he's actually has his own Found Up, and his is a non-profit Found Up. I haven't dealt with non-profit Found Ups, but I'm actually on the phone with him, talking to him, helping him out. You can go to his website at www.icodi.org. I like his name, ICODI. So it stands, ICODI stands for the Integrated Community Development Initiative. All right, integrated community. ICODI. So I like ICODI, ICODI.org. ICODI. He is a nonprofit, and I'm helping him out with his webpage. And I was actually just telling him about what social ventures is versus a nonprofit, and why, you know, social ventures are important. And Help Japan Co., as you know, is a social venture. So we were just discussing right now, I mean, the problem is everyone assumes now you're a crook. Really, they do. And, you know, when you've got Bank of America, you've got, you know, all these corporations basically lying and stealing the American dream. And these are, you know, Fortune, 100 companies, right? Then why are they going to, if the Fortune 100 companies are screwing you over, then why are they going to trust ICODI or Help Japan Co. or anyone else? You know, people are just going to assume everyone is a crook. So that's why, you know, what I was telling Kato here on the phone, I'm going to re-say, it's very important, especially as an African, you know, or an African organization, is to have full transparency. So you need to assume anyone coming or looking at your organization assumes that you're a crook. So you need to, how do you combat that? Well, with transparency. Red Cross doesn't give transparency. No nonprofit. United Way doesn't. And I've raised money for these guys. I mean, Boy Scouts of America, I know about that. I mean, every major organization doesn't have transparency because they don't want you to see where the money is going, and that's the bottom line. So if there is no transparency, you can basically, you know, have the frame of mind that there's probably someone, taking advantage of someone, because there's no transparency. The moment there's transparency, that opportunity goes away, right? So, you know, so for example, you know, like with a social venture, we'll have full transparency on the accounting because we'll use Google Docs to show real-time money in, money out. So once we launch Help Japan Co., we'll do that. And I recommend with ICODI, do the same thing, you know. Be a social venture nonprofit. Call yourself, we're a social venture nonprofit. A social venture, implies transparency. Okay? So here is, you know, you only offer this to, okay, you don't give this out to the general public. It's none of their fucking business. If they invest, if you donate to CODI, okay, if you become, you know, and for example, for anyone to join my team, they have to invest. Number one. Don't give anyone position on board member unless they've given you money. You know, one of the biggest mistakes as a founder, as a nonprofit, is we give away stuff. If you're on the board of directors for your organization, the only purpose of that board is to give money. That's it. That's it. All right? So if you have someone on that board that hasn't given money, you've just screwed yourself. Right? I don't put anyone, whether it's Found Ups or I don't put anyone on my team unless they have contributed or invested. And that's you've got to take that mind frame on that. How big is your board? 7? Have they all given money? Yeah, but my question is, is your board made up of money people, or are they made up of goodwill people? All right, there's two types of board member. There's the business board member, which is the money, and then there's the goodwill board member, which is like Aunt Martha. But are they are they made up of business people? Are they businessmen? Are they, doctors, accountants? Are they senior? Are they, do they have money? So you're doing community development, right? You're doing community development. So you have there are people who build houses in your community, right? Yeah, contractors. No, I'm talking about you have contractors in Uganda, right? People who build offices, and how many of those are on your board? CEOs. Well, you need to bite the bullet, and you need to go to them face to face, find out where the closest one is, and just hound them. I need you on my board. Here's my website. Let me meet with you. Go and knock on his door. As your role, you have to get in their face. You have to. The only way you're going to raise money, and trust me, is face to face. It's very hard to raise money, and I've tried and I've done it long distance. Okay, you have to meet with them. Yeah. So I will share something called a strategic initiative. Okay, you need to think in terms of strategic initiatives. Now, I used to work as a capital campaign strategic director for a company called National Community Development Services out of Atlanta. It's NCDS Inc. Okay, ncdsinc.net. Okay, now these guys run strategic initiatives, and I can share with you kind of their structure and their mechanism on how to raise money. They've raised over $1 billion. Okay, $1 billion for nonprofits, and they do it via strategic initiatives, not capital campaigns. And I'm probably going to do a talk on strategic initiatives versus capital campaigns. If you go to eduit, eduit.org, if you go and look on my YouTube, okay, if you do Michael Trout YouTube, or I've got lots of talks there, and I think I may have done a talk, or I'll do another talk on strategic initiatives versus capital campaigns. But you really need to focus on strategic return on investment. How will this campaign impact, Mbarara, or wherever you are? Yeah, Mbarara, largest urban community. How many people are in your community, Mbarara? 150,000. Okay, that's about the size of Tallahassee. Yeah. Well, I will, I will do, Cato, I'll do whatever I can to help you out, and work with you, and educate you and train you and share with you my knowledge that I have developed over 16 years, and try to help you out and get you going. FoundUps Corp is all about doing economic development and growth, and I hope what we can do is in the future, when I plan to come to Africa, okay? So I plan to be in Africa to do startup economic development projects and help people and individuals like yourself launch their companies. So me taking the time now, yeah, well, the thing is, here's the problem. I mean, I don't know if you know, but 90% of America now is owned by 1%. I mean, 90% of America is owned by 1%. Can you believe that? 90%. It's the same. So the same situation that's going on in Africa is now going on in America. And in the last 20 years, basically, the rich and the wealthy has usurped the middle class. They have stolen from the middle class, right? They have taken from the middle class. And, and there's a massive global imbalance. And, the whole idea with social ventures, the whole idea with collaborative frameworks, because the startup is an institutional framework. A found up is a collaborative framework. See, the institution is all about keeping the power, keeping the control in the few, right? The collaborative framework is more of the revolution. It's more like everyone can share a little bit and control it. We need to take back the world, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in the States, and we need to establish, the kinds of ventures to do that. I haven't even talked to you about my education venture. Eduit, eduit.org, talks about open, collaborative education using autonomous learning. And now I'm headed to, I just got an email, I'm going to KL, Malaysia, okay? I'm working with a group there. They're a major, think tank, and also kind of government contractor that has basically redefining the entire Malaysian education system to get it up to date. And they're bringing me on board to basically consult with them to bring about Education 3.0 or autonomous driven learning, because we have now the technology we have the technology now to basically put a classroom in every family's hands. Using smart devices, using what's known as ORE, Open Education Resources, okay, and using a video versus a text, because most people can't read, right? So text is pointless in my view. It should be ancillary. And basically having education driven using video and games and learning directly to the individual, and having AI being the moderator or the driving force or the teacher in many respects, deciding what units of knowledge to send to that person, okay, to get that person to an 8th grade level in math, science, and language arts. So imagine that you can have an iPhone or any sort of smart device, and have that device look at me as this. Right now I'm looking into this iTouch, and this iTouch 5 years from now is going to be free, okay? iTouch in a 5-year period is going to be free. The iPhone that we have today that's $400 in 5 years is probably going to be free, okay? Now imagine we put an iPhone in not one per kid, but one per family, and they can share, or an iPad. I came up with the idea of teaching tablets 3 years ago. A teaching tablet is an iPad. Okay? So, the whole vision of e-singularity, which is another if you type in type in e-singularity, this is another project of mine. If you type in e-singularity, I'll type it in here. E-sing. Well, I'm an ideas guy. Let me just, I'm an ideas guy in the sense that, well, that's the reason why I understand. That's my whole point. Is there are 2 billion people who make less than $2 a day. I mean, $2 a week. 2 billion people who will never get a basic quality education. And it is going to be as cheap as passing out a pencil to provide them that 8th grade education within the next 5 years. E-singularity, I typed it wrong. Here, let me retype it, okay? E-singularity, E-singularity, okay? Hold on, why is this not working here? E-singularity, yeah, there you go. If you type in type in that as a group, join the group. So E-singularity is, yeah, Facebook. If you Google E-singularity, you'll get me. But basically, E-singularity is the moment, is the point. It's like, singularity, technical singularity, is done by Ray Kurzweil. Is the moment when computers become as smart as us. That's the technology singularity. Okay? The E-singularity stands for education. Now, if you type in E-singularity, that I typed the bottom one, E-singularity, and look for the group on Facebook. No, it's E-singularity. There's only one E-singularity. Not singularity, E-singularity. You got to put an E in front of it. The E-singularity movement. Learn anything, anytime, anywhere. Yeah. Well, okay. This is the. I'll paste it here. It's our group. Okay. I just put the link in the group. So. All right. So basically, E-singularity is a movement to bring about free learning through smart devices. I've been doing this. I've been on this call since 2001. Okay, and I've been waiting for certain technologies to develop. And in 2006, 2007, some of the core technologies were developed to in my mind, I knew E-singularity was coming. So there's no reason over the next 5 to 10 years E-singularity will happen, and it's going to completely change the way we learn. It's going to completely, Web 2.0 in education is called Education 2.0. Autonomous, basically AI-driven learning with smart devices is Education 3.0. Okay. So countries like Uganda, countries like India and China and Malaysia, the opportunity is not, see, right now you've got all these companies trying to sell you Education 2.0 platforms. Cambridge has a program with China. They make $150 million a year from China selling Education 2.0, Cambridge products. Education 2.0 is built on controlling the domain being the text. Okay, so the whole, the education market is like 4.2, maybe it's higher now. That was a couple of years ago. $4.2 trillion. That entire market is driven basically by controlling copyrights. Right? So Education 3.0 basically deflates that. And it's about community. It's about community developing content. So that's it. Well, I'm on the phone. I've been on the phone too long. My phone bill is going to be too big. We'll talk again. All right?